Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be about repotting. So I have a couple plants, or several plants, that either need to be moved into a larger pot, or their media needs to be changed out for some fresh media. So I hope you'll stick around for that. But before we get started, I just wanted to remind everyone about the Discord community down in the link below. It's essentially an online forum / community / chat where you can connect with other pleurothallid growers around the world. You don't have to grow pleurothalids to join it. And we're almost at 100 members, so that's exciting. So again, the link will be in the description below for you to join that. And let's get on with this video. Alright, so I've kind of gathered some of the plants that I will be repotting today, just to show you, I guess, why I'm doing some of these for certain reasons. So this one here is Restrepia subote, and this guy will be moving into, this is a either a 2 or a 2.5 inch pot. But this guy will be moving into something larger. As you can see, there's so many growths on this now, the pot doesn't even sit upright. And so I have it on the edge of my trays just so it won't topple over like that. So this is one of the things I'll be repotting. Some other things, like this Masdevallia here. This moss is growing a little old. You can see there's some random crap growing in it. And also, just the color is a little off. Let's see if I can find a good example of... Here we go. So something like this is what it looks like when it's fresh. You know, a nice either beige or kind of this like golden brownish color. And then as the sphagnum begins to deteriorate, I'll use this guy as an example. You see it goes like a little greenish as, I guess, algae and stuff starts growing in it. And then, you know, it gets to this stage. And it can go even worse than this. Here's another one. You know, filled with algae and other whatever microorganisms. And then it can begin to rot, and that's not good for the plant roots, I guess. And so it's good to change it out every once in a while. It's for some fresh media. Last time I did this was exactly a year ago, so October 2024. And so that's, I guess, a typical lifespan, 1 to 2 years, for things that are kept this wet, like these Masdevallias. And so I'll just go through my process to show you kind of how I go about this, to unpot things and then repot them. I'll start first with the media I use. For these kinds of things, these pleurothalids that I grow in pots, I only grow them with sphagnum. Sometimes, you know, other mosses will grow on the surface of the pot, and that's fine. But the main media I put in the pot myself is sphagnum. So, you know, you can use any kind of sphagnum moss. Not a sponsor, but I do like, I like the Zoomed sphagnum brand. Been using it for years. The quality is pretty consistent, and it goes on sale a lot on Amazon. And, you know, decent fibers. The first thing I want to do is I want to hydrate some of this. So I got, you know, a little deli cup here. I'm going to fill with some moss. So this stuff does also make a bunch of little, I don't know how to say it, like little pieces. So if you're doing this not in an enclosed space, it might get messy. Anyways, here we go. So I found the fastest way to hydrate this is to squeeze it like you would squeeze a sponge. Like, you know, if you have a really dry sponge, you kind of like squeeze it, get water in and out really fast to really hydrate it. Similar concept with sphagnum. So this stuff can take a lot of water, and so I like to add a generous amount. You know, if I let it just sit here, and let the water passively absorb in, this will probably take a couple minutes. And so what I do instead is I'll just push, and you can see all the bubbles coming up to the surface here. Let me squeeze. I'm gonna use a fist sometimes. And then, you know, after a couple times, when it kind of stops really bouncing back, is when you know that it's sufficiently hydrated. Okay. See there? And now, basically I just used it like a giant sponge. But look. It's nice and hydrated, ready to go. What was that, like 15-20 seconds? Okay, anyways. Just for the sake of this video, I have another container here to collect the old media. But I'll usually just dump this straight into like the trash or something. So for this guy here, I'm actually gonna move it into something that's not like drastically bigger. So I'm gonna go ahead and find a pot real quick and I'll be right back. Okay, so I just kind of have like pots lying everywhere. This is what I'm gonna go with. I think this is a 3-inch pot. And I guess so that means this must be a 2.5-inch. Not a huge jump in size, but if you look, it's much more fitting. I could overpot it like crazy, but I don't know. I don't have a pot that's much larger, and I don't think it needs that big of a pot. Anyways, I pulled the tag out here, and this guy has a lot of roots. You can see them here lining the edge of the pot, so it's definitely root bound. What I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna pull, and if it doesn't come out immediately, I'm gonna squeeze these corners like this, and then like this, and that should pull the whole thing out. And actually, upon inspection, you can see the moss down here looks fine, but the moss up here doesn't. And so I'm actually gonna leave it. This moss down here, this is fine. If this was the same color as that, I would, you know, try to parse it apart. But I think this is fine. Yeah. Another good test is, you know, smelling it. If it smells, I get mossy and not kind of like sour, then your sphagnum is fine. Okay, so I'm gonna put this guy here. What I'll do is, so I don't want it to be too tight in the new pot. First thing I'll do is one issue I have when I pot things I found is I don't, with just sphagnum, is if when I squeeze them into the pot, sometimes I don't get it all the way to the bottom. And then we have this like dead space down there. There's also the chance you can overfill the pot. So just be aware of that, but this is what I tend to underfill and like stuff a lot in like this middle area than the bottom. So I'm just gonna put a couple strands down there. And I guess I will just like wrap this with like a very thin layer, like so, on each side. Okay. This. And I'll just stuff it into the pot. And then I will gauge by feeling whether or not this is enough moss. So I'm going to push this guy in now. So what I'm feeling for is, I guess how tight it is. So I can feel that it's snug, but I don't need to use an excessive amount of force to push the plant in. And so, I think that's an okay fit. Okay. And we will now see if this will stand up on its own. If it doesn't, it will be an epic fail. There. I'm not cheating. You can see this pot is much better. Okay, maybe not. I guess it's slightly better of a size. It's definitely not as tipsy as it was before. I think I'll still keep it on the edge. You know, I might go ahead and cover this up, but with a little bit of moss, not a big deal. It's more of an aesthetic thing, I guess. And maybe, okay, that's fine. And I'll stick this little tag back in here, and this first guy is done. Alright. Let's do a smaller guy now, where the media is looking bad on the top. Okay, here's another Restrepia that needs a bigger pot, and also might need new media. So this is Restrepia Howiei. A good time, I forgot to mention this earlier, this is also a good time for cutting any like dead, old, or dying leaves off. The other one didn't really have that many you know, to cut, but this one has a couple. You know, see here, you can either pull them out if they come out, or take some shears, you know, and just like cut them up, and then dump them. So, but this is a good time to clean up your plants without the media and stuff in the way, or worrying about the media too much. And so, another thing I want to note is see all this nice green moss growing on the top of the pot. You know, if you're like me and you like moss, this is a great chance to also kind of collect some of it. So just peeling it off here. And then, see, I have like little containers in my tent of just mixes of moss. So I'll just put this in with that. And as I'm doing this, I'm noticing, see the golden color there? Looks like the media is actually fine. This makes sense. I don't think I've had these plants for too long. And this Restrepia was potted at the same time as that other Restrepia, and so, yeah, it's fine. This media is fine. I just need a bigger pot. Again, I'll be using another one of those 3-inch pots. This guy's a little smaller, so it'll fit a little nicer in there. I do want to check the quality of this guy's roots though. So again, just one squeeze, another squeeze, and let me tease it out. Okay, so this plant seems to have attached to the pot very intensely, and I can feel it on one side stronger than the other. So it's this side that's really attached, so I'm going to give it a little squeeze. Maybe stick my fingers in there, get it out. I can feel a lot of roots, so that's good. But I can also hear a lot of roots ripping. No, okay. Anyways, here, got another great root system. And again, you see the moss is fine, so I won't be replacing this quite yet. A couple strands in the bottom, like before. And again, just a couple strands on the outside here. I'll be holding these like that, just to let it fit snugly into the new pot. Okay. So here we go. Push this guy in. I don't know how to describe the feeling, but it really is like a feeling, not a quantity of moss. I feel like for this purpose, you can kind of tell when you work with sphagnum a lot. You'll kind of tell when you're compacting it like crazy. I'm trying to see if I can demonstrate, but I feel like there's still a bounce to it, and when I push it in, it's not doesn't require a lot of force to push it in. If that's helpful at all, I don't know. But anyways, here we go. Nice new pot for this pretty nice growing specimen here. And so I'll give him his little tag back, and we'll move on to another plant. Okay, hopefully one of my plants here is old moss, or I'm gonna look like a fool. Okay, so this Masdevallia I pointed out earlier is from a year ago, so hopefully the moss is bad on this one. Let's see. Okay, let me smell it. Okay, so I don't think the moss is bad on this one, but the bark definitely is. So what I'm gonna do is actually, oh, actually the moss is not great. Okay, on the camera it's showing up like a nice golden color, but it's actually like kind of pale, like a gray color. Let's see. So I'm gonna go ahead and replace this moss. You know, it's old, so might as well go ahead and do it. Let's see how this root system looks. And so I'm not gonna be too intense about removing absolutely every single hair, but I am gonna try and be pretty thorough, because then otherwise why would I be doing this at all? Okay, here we go. Decent root system here. Obviously not as amazing as that Restrepia I just had. So I'm just gonna trash this. Okay. So what I like to do for these is, like when there's no existing moss, I kind of loosely find out how much moss will fill one of these pots. So about this much. And then the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to squeeze out all this water, because remember it's like a sponge. And then it'll look very compressed, but as you kind of fan it out here, it'll regain some of its structural integrity. And so I use my hand like this to kind of layer it out. I place the plant in the middle and then kind of just go around. And as I'm doing this, I realize I probably have way too little moss, but we'll see. There's some sticks here, so I'm just gonna throw it away. Okay, let's see. And then you just push this guy in. That's actually fine. In terms of moss. So again, you don't want it too compact. Yeah, exactly like that. So I'm going to go ahead and repot a bunch of other things, and then I'll be right back. Hey everybody, since I have you here for about a minute, I want to announce something. So I'm excited to introduce this new thing for the Discord community. I'm calling it the Pleurathalid Atlas. And so the purpose of this is to have a shared photo database available to the community, where we as a community can collect and showcase our pleurathalid orchids. So it'll be for everything from larger Draculas and Masdevallias to the smaller, Lepanthes and Stelis species. And so the idea is simple. Folks upload photos of their plants along with their names, and in return, we all get access to sort of a living visual archive built by the community. And I want it to be essentially a place to explore the diversity of the Pleurathalid Alliance through people's personal collections. So whether you're a grower, photographer, or just here to admire these tiny little orchids, this Pleurathalid Atlas is meant to be a collaborative gallery, which hopefully will be a part reference and part community project going forward. So if this interests you at all in any way, please check it out in the Discord server, which you can join in the link below, and look for the forum called the Pleurothallid Atlas section, where you can read more about how to contribute and start browsing, or take pictures of your plants to contribute. I hope this will be almost like a digital botanical garden from around the world for people interested in pleurothallids. Anyways, thanks for listening to my little spiel. Alright everybody, thank you so much for watching, and if you stuck around, thanks for listening to that little spiel about the Discord server and the Pleurothallid Atlas. Very excited about all of this community building that's happening. And again, make sure to join the Discord, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.